if you're curious about what winter is like here in Arkansas, I would bet to believe you're probably even considering a move here to Arkansas. Now, my friend, today's video, we're going to cover some stats and figures, maybe even a personal story or two about what life is like in Arkansas in the winter months. Maybe this will give you an indication on if you want to move here and if you can handle the harsh Arkansas winters. When most people think about winter months, they think about snow and cold and absolutely freezing temperatures, ice skating, skiing, those types of activities and things that relate to winter. Well, here in Arkansas, my friends, it's not quite like that. Not like our friends up north, Michigan, Minnesota, the Dakotas, even Washington, or even up in the Northeast. Winter is scientifically marked by the winter solstice, when the Earth has tilted, the North and the South Pole have tilted, and the United States, where we typically live and where you're probably watching this from, is tilted farther away from the sun, which gives us shorter days, and we're being farther away from the sun, we're going to be a little bit colder this time of year. It's one of my favorite days of year when we have sunshine all day long, typically the summer solstice. Every year around December 22nd or 21st is the winter solstice, or the longest night of the year, or the shortest day of sunlight, however you want to look at it. During winter months here in Arkansas, we're going to experience, of course, colder temperature, freezing rain, sleet, and yes, even some snow. One date of record across the United States is the Great Blizzard of 1899. The research that I did for you, my friend, only shows that Arkansas had a little bit higher than average snowfall than what it does every other year during the Great Blizzard of 1899. Other notable dates that we see in snowfall in Arkansas: 1960, Little Rock saw a total yearly snowfall of 32.6 inches, whereas Gravette, just northwest of where I'm standing here today in Bentonville, had a 24-hour snowfall record of 40 inches of snow. That's like right here back in 1913. That's a lot of snow. But that, my friend, isn't typical of what we see in snowfall in Arkansas. According to what I found online, Northeast Arkansas sees about 2 to 3 inches. South Arkansas sees about 1 to 2 inches. Central Arkansas near Little Rock, 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches. And Northwest Arkansas, we see somewhere around 8 to 10 inches on average. Some years we don't get any snowfall at all. Some years we get a little bit more than that. Again, it's an average number for you. Now, my family in particular, we absolutely love snow. I grew up in Michigan playing in the snow, having snowball fights, building forts. My girls, they take full advantage. Now back here in Arkansas, anytime it snows, we go out and play and make a little snowman, have a snowball fight, and even make some snow ice cream. During the winter months, we typically see the temperatures range anywhere from the 20s to the 50s. Sometimes it gets down low, especially with a wind chill, into the single digits and below zero, but not that often. And on the other side, I believe it was Christmas a couple years ago, my family and I went out to watch a movie like we do every year on Christmas. And we were in our Christmas pajamas, and I think it was around 60 to 65 degrees on Christmas Day here in Northwest Arkansas, only but a couple years ago. Of course, on the higher end of that, being in the 50s, of course, is going to be during the higher part of the day. Kind of like what we talked about earlier, when the sun is going to be in the highest part of the day, 2 to 3 o'clock is when we're going to see the hottest part of the day. Earlier, I had mentioned that Arkansas sees freezing rain and sleet that happens during the winter months when things cool down. Now, my friend, that's going to be a lot more prevalent than actually seeing snow, because we are here in the South, we have a little bit warmer temperatures that causes that moisture as it moves from west to east throughout the United States, us having warmer temperatures coming up from the Gulf. No, I'm not a meteorologist, but simple physics is if there's moisture in the air coming and it's cold, it's going to turn into snow. If it's not cold enough, it's probably going to be sleet. If it's cold and it colds really sharp, as you know, it turns into ice. And when ice happens, back in 2009, my wife and I had experienced this when we lived here in Arkansas. There was around 1 to 2 inches of ice in January of 2009. Now, we were stuck in our home for a few days, but I want to say we only lost power for a few hours, and it really wasn't that bad because we got to enjoy some time with one another. And let's be real, we should be going out and driving on the road anyway with ice. Now, if you're from the northern states or an experienced person, maybe that's driven on the snow your whole life, I would still say please stay off the road. If not for your own skills, I would say for the lack of skills of others. Furthermore, my friends, according to ArkansasHouse.org, nationwide, it is estimated that 1 in 8 motorists is uninsured. Here in Arkansas, it's even worse. Numbers say, according to the website, around 16% of motorists are not insured because nobody's clearing the roads, because people don't know how to drive on the roads in winter here. Stay off the road. This brings us to our next section as to what do people do in Arkansas when it snows? Well, my friends, I'll tell you about the municipalities. They are inequipped to be able to go clear all the snow off of the roads. And if it's ice on the roads, you got to let that melt. And if the ground is warm, then it's going to melt the snowfall. That's why when you're driving around bridges, it say bridges may be icy or bridge may ice before road. You've seen those signs. Maybe wherever you are or wherever you're coming from is because the air is passing underneath that bridge, allowing the road surface on that bridge to be a lot colder. So the snow sitting on that bridge is going to either turn to ice or it's not going to melt as fast as it would in other parts of surface streets. So the municipalities around here don't have typical plow trucks that we see up in the northern states that are 6, 8, 10 foot tall that do the echelon highway snow clearing. They don't have that here in Arkansas. So what do? A lot of times they'll do a slurry or a pre-treat that's supposed to help manage the snow melt and manage the ice that does fall so it doesn't build up as bad. So if you have children and you're looking to move to Arkansas, we do have snow days. Sometimes they'll even cancel school when there's not even any snow on the ground. It might just be forecasted to be bad. Schools, businesses, places of work, restaurants, what have you, might just shut down because of a forecast of snow. And of course, if there is snow, many places will shut down. I don't know if you've seen the bread and milk guy that did the YouTube video on bread and milk a few years ago, but that's very true. When we see that happen, snow is in the forecast, people go out and they prepare for it. Now, my friend, it's really not that bad where we live here in northwest Arkansas, but maybe in other more rural parts of Arkansas, you might want to stock up a little bit because what if it is that bad with 2 to 3 inches of snow or ice? Now, 2 to 3 inches of snow, again, my friends, being from Michigan myself, hearing 2 to 3 inches of snow, you're still going to school. One other thing to note is a lot of the grass, especially here in northwest Arkansas. Grass, Anthony, what are you talking about? I'm talking about that grass, that green cover that you typically see. It's brown here in Arkansas. So we have Bermuda grass that goes dormant and it turns brown. So it's really not pretty. Whereas some other states that might not have snow and all the leaves are off the trees, at least the trees might look drab, but the ground is still green because you've got Kentucky blue or fescue or other types of grasses that keep it green. Here in Arkansas, it gets really brown. So when we see that change of season back towards spring and things start greening up, and it's kind of a refreshing feeling when things start livening back up again. Many people moving to Arkansas or that already live here can still enjoy outside activities in the winter months. Let's say it's 20 degrees outside, but there's no snow and it's a beautiful sunshiny day. You can still go out and enjoy much of the mountain biking trails that are around all of the entire state of Arkansas. You may have to check local trails and just making sure that some of those jump lines or the downhill lines aren't shut down, but many of the enduro type of trails are still open. They're year-round trails that you can still go ride. Of course, you can hike them as well. Many people, because the lakes don't freeze over, are still fishing in the winter months. And again, on a good day between December and March, you still may see many people out playing golf. Of course, on those cold, really cold, bitter days where it gets dark at 4:30 at night, you might go find yourself a movie theater. You may go find yourself an opera or go to a museum to pass the time during the winter months in Arkansas. One of the downsides you might feel, especially if coming from a northern state, of course, when we think of Christmas time, when you're watching those Christmas movies, Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life, the Christmas movies that you think of are all set in a winter scene with snow on the ground. So if you're coming from a northern state and are used to having snow on the ground for Christmas, my friend, it's probably not going to be a white Christmas. It's probably going to be a brown Christmas. The good news is it probably won't mess up your travel around the holidays if there isn't any snow. So you can continue to go about your way during your Christmas activities. Maybe your kids are doing the ballet Nutcracker or something, I don't know. And you need to be able to get there. You're not going to have to fight against the snow, the sleet. All right, now what kind of real estate agent would I be if I didn't share with you what real estate is like in Arkansas in the wintertime. I went back 5 years and I looked at 5 years of winters and 5 years of summer months. So June, July, August for our summer month example, and December, January, February for our winter months example. You might be interested to know that I'm here in Northwest Arkansas. I can't speak for Jonesboro or Little Rock or other parts of the state. I have analytics here in Northwest Arkansas. For the last 5 years, January through February, Northwest Arkansas has averaged 2,365 homes sold during that time frame. During the summer months, when things are going a little bit hotter and heavier here in Arkansas in June, July, and August, the average of those 3 months for the last 5 years is 3,349. We're seeing just about 1,000 less homes sold during the winter months in Arkansas than we are in the warmer summer months. Dark and cold at 4 or 5 o'clock, right? Another thing I wanted to point out to you is to understand that many people think that in the winter months you can get a smoking hot deal on a house. Well, that might be the case. Maybe it's an investor that's trying to get that property off their books for the next year. So I looked at list to sale ratio. So the list price to what the final sales price was, what was that percent? So during the summer months, the list to sale ratio for the last 5 years, during those months we talked about, was 99.3%. Now in the winter months of those 5 years that we discussed was 98.6%. Only 0.7% higher in the summer months. There's more competition, more people move during the summer. It's lighter later, and so people can look at homes after work. Something that also lends itself to buying home more cost effectively in the winter months is, we haven't seen that appreciation from December to June. So yes, you're going to buy a home in December for $500,000. In June, that same house could be $525,000. $515,000 because of simple appreciation. Speaking of appreciation, winter months, home sale prices from 2018, that 4-bed, 3-bath or more home. In 2018, that home was $358,000. In the winter months of 2022, that same house came in at $590,000. That's over $230,000 of appreciation, of inflation, of home equity that is different between 2018 and 2022. Maybe that dispels or helps encourage some of your understanding about what winter is like in Arkansas. Either way, now you know a little bit more about what life is like in and around Bentonville. Thanks for watching.